Hello, everyone. Welcome to Satsang and the non-dual God. I had a student of mine who'd made a comment, feeling very frustrated and even angry that, why is God doing all these things? Why do I always get the same thing happening all the time? And so I wanted to talk a bit about what God means from the point of view of non-duality. There's no doubt that in the minds of people, God is a reality. There's something mythological, something archetypal that has been within human beings forever. Pondering this question of where lies the absolute being. Where do we set our touch point, our center point, our North Star, right? We live in a time where we have nothing but moral and cultural relativism. So whatever idea becomes dominant, that becomes the truth. And so we have, the official narrative, we have the unofficial narratives, we have the contradictory narratives, everyone arguing for the truth of their position. God is truth. Now, what you may believe truth to be is a completely different thing, but the fact that we all need it and want it, we look for truth. And what does that mean? We look for that which is not changing. It's not going to fluctuate. It's not morally okay today and then morally reprehensible tomorrow. It is consistent. You can build a house there and it's not on sand. It's a solid foundation. It's a place to live a life. And we need to have a place to live a life. Human beings need a reference point. The mind needs a reference point. If you take away a reference point, it will make a new one. And what we see in the world now is nothing but a bunch of competing reference points, a bunch of stories competing to be the official one. And of course, those that are promoting a particular story have a vested interest in it, because in that story, they of course are the top dogs, the head of the the alpha males, as it were. And so this deep search for objective, absolute truth is as old as human beings are. We used to look for it in priests and priesthood and scriptures and holy books. Interestingly enough, that all happened after the culture began to emerge, where we had city-states and specialization and all that. Prior to that, the reference point was simply nature. Right? One was simply in harmony with their own nature. This is the Tao. I'm just flowing with the way life flows. This is life. This is how it is. And it was objective, because we were subject to the environment in which we lived. The economy of the world, you might say, the currency of nature, was what we just accepted. This is the way it is, and of course it is. We've been trying to control it, deny it, put it down for millennia, and it really hasn't gotten us anywhere. Now, I'm not putting forth the idea that somehow we can all go back to the hunter-gatherer times. It's simply not going to happen. I mean, I don't want to give up indoor plumbing and video cameras and the internet, right? But we certainly can't do it the way we've been doing it, because the way we've been doing it has pushed us. Well, it has pushed us into insanity and really universal trauma, because we've lost anything we can trust in. And as that happens, the most despicable and lowly of the species kind of tend to emerge to grab power, which has been also the case for time immemorial. Where's the one place we haven't looked? The one place that human beings have not looked in order to find this absolute truth, this absolute objective reality. We've even looked to science, right? Science has this idea that there is some objective truth, even though over 100 years ago it was recognized that it's always from a point of view, and it really is impossible to take the observer out of the equation because of the nature of our perceptions. Yet we have been persisting in trying to get closer and closer to something that exists objectively, but we cannot get beyond the self-evident fact that what is being determined objectively is being determined by the subjective consciousness. It is always subject to our perception. And to its credit, science has always acknowledged that these perceptions, they are shifting, they can change. That which is accepted as an absolute fact at one time can be superseded, not necessarily negated, but superseded by a bigger, more comprehensive picture. So what is God? God is truth. Whatever it is that is absolute, that's God. That's really what we're seeking. I don't care what you call it. I don't care how you picture it. If you picture it personally or impersonally, like a scientist or a theologian, we are looking for an absolute truth, an unchanging truth. I find it very telling, and perhaps a clue that we are looking for an absolute truth. Now, our friends, the trees and critters and the like, they're not. They're just being. Right? We are. Something inside of us wants to know. To me, that's the most interesting phenomena of all. Not what we happen to discover, conclusions we might draw, or arguing about this or that. But this universal drive, this universal need to know truth. And what would be the ultimate truth to know? I mean, what's the point of this discovery? Right? Well, it'd be to know who I am. It would be to know yourself. What we're really looking for is the truth of ourselves. Now, from the point of view of Advaita Vedanta, the only place worth looking, right, is not out there. If I want to know me, I have to look where I am. I can't be looking out there and studying this and that and picking these things up and taking them apart. That's all well and good, right? But obviously, if I want to know something, I focus all my attention on that thing that I want to know. If I want to know what a butterfly is, I look at the butterfly. I study the butterfly. I look at the wings and the legs. I mean, there are people who study butterflies their entire life. So there's obviously a lot there that one. So anything you want to learn, anything you want to know, what do? You give it your attention. And yet, this is what we haven't done. We look everywhere trying to understand ourselves. We don't look at ourselves. We don't look at the most subtle but the most obvious phenomena, self-aware consciousness. We don't look. We look at the body. Right? So, I'm going to study the brain and all the little chemical impulses and stuff. And yet that which is studying the brain, which is looking at the brain, which is processing the information, which is experiencing the whole thing, that never gets scrutinized. The name for that is consciousness. And it's the big mystery. It's the big unknown. And yet, from the point of view of the non-dual, it's the closest, the most self-evident, that which is right here, because it's you. It's you that is having that experience. So how do you put your attention completely on yourself? Well, that's what non-dual inquiry, that's what meditation, koans, all sorts of practices throughout the year have been pointing at exactly that, how to do it. The most interesting thing about it is that because it is subjectivity itself, it is that which is looking and not that which is seen. It cannot be studied objectively. You can't put consciousness under a microscope and look at it because you're it. You can't put yourself under a microscope and look at you. The finger can't touch itself. Lips can't kiss themselves, right? So then how do you know yourself? Well, this is what self-inquiry is all about. It is, in the deepest sense, a negation of all knowledge and the way human beings have garnered knowledge, which has all been objective, and instead seeing everything through different eyes. To know myself, I must simply be experiencing the most direct and simple of all experiences, and that is my own being. What if that's all there was to it? That it wasn't something elaborate, it wasn't, complex. It was simply the fact I am. The fact, the truth I am. The very thing we've been seeking, the truth, that which is always there, which doesn't change. Look at your life. In every single moment, everything around you has been changing. It's doing it right now. But look closely at the actual experience that you had of having experience and the consciousness that was experiencing it. And look for yourself. Has that ever changed? I looked and I could find no evidence of a change. It was absolutely consistent. Well, doesn't that fit our definition of truth? As a matter of fact, isn't that the only thing you've ever experienced that fits that definition? That which is absolutely constant and changeless? Obviously, the only place we haven't looked is to ourselves. And there it's plain as day. You are truth. Truth is what is. In the Sanskrit expression Satchidananda, Sat stands for being, but the word Sat not only where it means being, it means truth. In the Sanskrit, truth and being are one and the same. Truth is not intellectual. It is not something known. It is the ultimate knower. It is being itself. Because what could be truer than that which is, or being? And so when I ask you, do you know that you are? And of course you're going to answer yes. You've touched it. You've touched that which humanity has been seeking ever since we became conscious enough to seek. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. Take a sip of my mate. Say hello to everyone. And welcome once again to Satsang, everybody. Sat Song. right? Sat, there's that word again. Being, communion with being, communion with truth. So Teresa says, good evening, GP. Good evening, afternoon, GP, and everyone. I just wanted to jump in before the start of tonight's satsang to say a big thank you for your online satsangs and all those who participate. You're very welcome. I could have questions, however, they instantly dissolve as I know there are no hard and fast answers to life's dilemmas. Only one answer works, and that is love. My heart breaks regularly and discovers again and again love's portal. Thank you, GP, from my heart to yours. Thank you, Teresa. What a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. To me, it's the ultimate and the only standard, love. And it's really simple. Love will lead to harmony. The absence of love will lead to hate, division, conflict, war, and everything goes with it. It's obvious. Do the math, extrapolate. Love goes this way. Hate, indifference, lack of empathy, they go that way. And where are they going to head? Obviously, hate ends up completely self-destructive. It destroys everything, destroys the world as we know it, which it's doing. Yeah? And look at love. Where is that going? So this isn't just a nice philosophical thing I made up. It's not just the pipe dream of an old hippie. I mean, look at it. It's self-evident. Love alone is capable of bringing peace to earth and harmony. Nothing else can. I think maybe it's time we try it. I think maybe we should start talking about love in politics and in business and in all of the functions of human life and in economics. We should not be talking about profit. We should be talking about love. Profit is meaningless, right? It's part of the other division and destruction. Let's talk about love. That should be the only currency. That should be what's measured on Wall Street. How much love did it deliver? How many people did it take care of? What important problem did it solve? It doesn't matter how much it made. Love is the answer. And this is not just a platitude. Look for yourself. There's no other conclusion you can draw. Thank you, Teresa. Hey, Rosario in Madrid, Robbie in Romania, Roberto back in Madrid, my wanderer. Yeah, all right. Roberto, I've been reading about the metaverse lately, and this popped up in my mind. Could we be already living in a kind of metaverse, so to speak? Well, the answer is we absolutely are. It is self-created. It is all a projection of the mind. We want to speculate that this is, driven by some extraterrestrials or, something, right? Or, we got put in here by the machines, like in Terminator, right? Or no, it wasn't Terminator, but Matrix, right? Terminator was different. And so we are actually in the Matrix. He wakes up and he's this person, right? Kind of hooked up with electrodes, to suck his energy out of him and the like. But this notion of the world as a dream has been around forever. It was seen as the fact by the sages of all time, sages and mystics, that recognize that I never experience anything outside of my own perception. Therefore, what is the nature of reality? My perception. What is it? What is the foundation of reality? Me, my consciousness. We believe, the universal belief is, I am a body in a world. When I identify with the body, as we all do at some point early on in our life, the moment that happens, a world comes into existence, Prior to that, there's no world, there's no me, there's no body. There is just the pure, undifferentiated consciousness. Once the belief takes root, I am this body. Now I end here, and all of this is other. This is the great delusion. There is no world. There is no body. These are all evanescent ripples in consciousness. The nature of consciousness itself, like the nature of the ocean, generates these ripples. And then there's a belief that this constitutes an entity that exists separate from the one perceiving it. And therein lies the entire root of this thing that now, metaverse, I mean, it's a marketing idea somebody made up because they want to sell virtual reality, right? As if we weren't already living in one. Right? I mean, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't a nice, mesmerized, docile citizenship being these people with glasses living in a world that doesn't exist? Right? We're already living in a world that doesn't exist. It's constructed by the mind. There's only one way for freedom from this, and that is to wake up to who you are. That's why it's put in those terms of waking up. When you wake up in the morning from your dream, you're, oh, it wasn't real. But this is, no, it's not. And this is what the sages have been saying forever. It is not real. It is a totally subjective experience upon which we have projected objectivity. We believe that the thing that is a projection of our own minds exists independently of the mind, and then we fear it, we worship it, we bow down to it, we try to placate it, we try to manipulate it, and it is completely a construct of your mind. Look at your life. You walk through your own mind. You don't experience anything as it is. You experience it as you believe it to be. And you believe it to be according to the model. The ultimate model is what you believe yourself to be. The moment you have an idea of what I am, that is the reference point that defines everything else. This is the actual truth distorted. It's in its negative appearance. You are seeing what you believe. And even if you can't grasp the idea that it doesn't exist out there at all, it is completely within consciousness, you can at least grasp the idea that maybe there is something there, but I am not seeing it as it is. I am seeing it as I perceive it, and I experience it through perception. I have let's say you have a friend, you have 3 friends, right? And one of the friends gets angry with the other friend about something, and then starts telling you all sorts of nasty things about this other. Oh, they did this terrible. I was so surprised. Or it was, I just don't want anything to do with him, and you shouldn't either. Now that little poison, that doubt gets put into your head, and suddenly the behaviors that seem perfectly natural to before, now all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's right. Oh, she is doing that. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, she's absolutely, we got to cut her out. And then for some reason or another, you have a conversation with that particular one, and you go, oh, it wasn't true at all. It was all my perception. If you're even willing to have that relationship. I think I've told this story before that, you all probably heard the story of my mother and her mental illness, and she was certified nuts, and just completely locked into her own world, and whatever she believed about the world was true. Well, in an effort to keep control over me and keep me away from my father, she had convinced, from the time I was a little boy, she was telling me he was an alcoholic, he was violent, I had to watch out, he was going to hurt me. And of course, as a little kid, I took that in. I believed it. And I was scared of my father. I was about 22 years old, and I just happened to walk into the living room where he was sitting. And there was there he was sitting on the couch reading a book. And I was like, none of this was true. This incredibly gentle, normal guy sitting there. And then I realized he'd never touched me. He'd never raised his voice to me. My mother had. She'd hit me. He never had. My God, it's a lie. The whole thing is a lie. Now, it completely influenced me for almost my whole life. Unfortunately, he died shortly thereafter, and I never really got to know him, right? But he wanted to go. He was really done. I didn't blame him. But you can see, I lived according to I lived in a world that did not exist. This is what we do. It is this blatant and in our faces, but we do not see it. We believe that the truth is something we're going to discover. We're going to discover the truth about that tree. We're never going to discover that. We're always going to be seeing a perception of something. The fact of the matter is, you don't even know if the tree exists at all, other than your perception of it. What if consciousness is generating the entire picture and you just have remained ignorant of it? Well, that's exactly what's happened. It is consciousness that is generating it. So don't be fooled by these guys trying to sell yet the latest virtual reality thing as if it was some great thing. It's it's more of the same. It has nothing to do with love. It has nothing to do with liberating you. It has everything to do with enslaving you. Free yourself from this dream of a world that exists independent, that somewhere there's a world we're going to discover and go, this is what the truth is. It's never going to happen because you are the truth. Thank you, Roberto. Very nice, penetrating question. I liked answering that one. Hello, Ava. Love to you. Love to you. There's Andy B. Evening to you. Oh, hello, Diane. Good evening, GP and everyone. I never miss a satsang, but only now is treatment allowing me to see enough to type. Bless you all. Oh, wow. I guess that sounds good. You're now seeing well enough to be able to type. Oh, wonderful. So glad. So you probably got a million questions and comments to make, so feel free. Hey, David and Elaine. Good to see you guys. Jay, Om Namah Shivaya, G. Om Namah Shivaya, and everyone. I hope these satsangs never come to an end. It's the best time of the entire week. I hope they never come to an end either. I have no intention of ending them. My only intention is to be doing them live, with actual people and around as we do the live stream, and to travel all over the world and just do this. This is my ambition. Yeah. Hello, Bob. Hello to whatever the name is there in Serbia. Andy, interesting topic, Roberto. Elon Musk is convinced we're in a metaverse-style simulation. Well, yeah, I think I've explained that. And yes, they are. But those guys, the Elon Musks and Larry Ellisons, and Jeff Bezos of the world, they think they can control it. They're even more deluded than the rest of us. And good to be here. Will you continue as you move to your? Oh, absolutely. At the same time and everything. Just for me, it'll be 8 o'clock at night that I'll be doing these rather than 11 o'clock in the morning. Penny, hello, Penny. Teresa, well said. Love is what we are, and thank you so much, CV, for this great love community. Yeah, you're very welcome. Steph, namaskaram, friends. Peace and love from Germany. Thank you, Steph. Creative Rebellion. Oh, love the new satsang picture. Thank you. So relieved to see you. Good to see you, Susanna. Milo, hello, Milo. The whole COVID situation and the power the government has is so frightening. Lockdown again, people are forced to get vaccinated. I feel so much fear and would love to be active in protest for freedom. Well, then you should, by all means. It is a land grab. But as always, I have to caution people. We want to reject everything about it with very little information, because we want, as I said in the beginning, we want to find this reference point, right? Okay, this is true. But we think that's going to be some kind of objective true. This is a lie. The vaccines are safe. The vaccines are not safe. Boom, taking a position, right? And almost always that position is ill-informed. It's either rebellious or it is conforming, right? So what is the truth? Well, the truth isn't in any of it. The truth does not lie in the official narrative or the conspiracy narrative. There is, if we're looking simply at what has facts, the way a court would look at it, it's a huge mishmash of truth and falsity, all mixed up together. In some instances, purposely, all sorts of disinformation being pumped out of there. I mean, the spy services in all the countries, in the United States, even admitted 30% of the effort of the CIA is devoted to spreading lies, to making up stories, to planting stuff in the media. So, a lot of those posts you see on Facebook, they're not coming from real people. Their point is to make polarity. Love, on the other hand, makes unity. If there's genuine love in one's heart, the most loving and most appropriate way for us to move forward as a people and deal with something as extraordinary as a worldwide pandemic, the way will become clear, right? It can't become clear when we're just arguing for position, because if you argue for position, what do you do then? Well, you amass power in order to enforce your position, because there's no love in it. Nobody should be forced to do anything, but at the same time, right? does a society have the right to impose rules to keep people safe for the general well-being? Now, I'm not saying that's what they're doing. Okay, I'm not taking a side here. I'm just saying that if you look at both sides, they both have merit, right? And this is the most difficult time to be alive. What's going on is a war. World War III is a war for control over the narrative. It is for control over the story. And most people feel so powerless that they want to grab onto a story, and that story is going to be, it's going to fit the view of the world they already had, right? Fed by just enough information to make them feel very strongly about it. And in that feeling, there's a sense of being safe. And there's no truth in it, right? Because there's no love in it. Right? I highly recommend that people be willing to not take sides and simply follow what's the most loving thing to do. Right? The most loving, not you're wrong, you're horrible, you're evil, right? Even if they are, right? But to not take that position. Instead, what's the most loving thing to do? And then somebody, well, the most loving thing, and they'll argue for their position. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. This is a difficult thing to do because the human mind wants certainty, but it seeks certainty outside of itself. And that's why it is so easily manipulated and controlled. You can't find certainty out there. There isn't any. There's no such thing as a true thought. There's no such thing as an objective reality or knowledge. We need, what I'm promoting is a completely different way of being in the world than we have tried so far. And all I can say is try it. You will at least feel peaceful about it. Right? There's one of the most difficult things in true spirituality is being willing to accept things the way they are, even knowing that you don't know the way they are. What's the problem? The world is it's stupid, it's brutal, it's cruel, it's selfish, it's unequal. Yeah. What if this is the way it needs to be? What? Joseph Campbell visited the guru, the enlightened master Atmananda, and he asked him exactly that question. What do you do? You're supposed to just accept everything, and this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the divine. This is the divine unfoldment, the divine play. He says, how do you accept that with the brutality, the stupidity, everything that's going on? Atmananda's response was, for you and me, we must say yes to it. As it turns out, after Joseph had his audience with him and he left, his student mentioned to him that was Atmananda's first question to his guru when he went to him for the very first time. How do we say yes to it? In order to say yes to this requires the most incredible amount of pure humility and admission that I don't have a clue. And any position I take will of necessity be wrong. So I just say yes to it. And I keep my heart open because I know that there's a better way. I know that love is the answer, but I do not see the way in which that can be universally implemented. And so I just say yes to it. Whatever comes, I say yes to it, even if it means a complete restriction of your freedom, even if it means your own death, you say yes to it. Ultimately, we have to say yes to death anyway, right? And somehow we have to be forced into finding the freedom that is within us, that it can never be given to you from the outside. And this is the only true power. And if you're moved to protest, by all means do. I am. I have. But once again, I say yes. It doesn't mean I'm just passive. It means I'm actively participating in the game. This is the meaning of the bodhisattva. They're not just kind of sitting up in a mountain somewhere chanting Om. They've done that. They've come to the realization, and they consciously and purposefully enter into life completely. They play the game in the best you can, knowing full well that it's all an illusion and your destiny lies elsewhere. Hard thing for a lot of people to hear, but there it is. I notice some people dropping off or listening. They don't want to hear it. So, well. Yeah, my job is to not say things people want to hear. Sean, hello, welcome. Dropping in to say thanks for all you do, GP. You're welcome, Sean. Barbara in Sweden. Hi, Barbara. And Jay. Hi, Steph. Oh, thank you for reading the book. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, G. It seems everything is reduced to sex, and I'm so tired of the superficial world and generation. What happened with all the other values, especially among teens and tweens? Oh, they were what we see in teenagers and pre-teenagers, the tweens. We see the fruit of a society that has gone mad, that no longer has human values. It only values status, power, and wealth. It is a world that is completely intoxicated by greed, and that creates these children. It creates a complete absence of guidance. So our culture, our society, does not try to develop children, educate them, show them the best way, teach them how to think and be critical. It teaches them, it exploits them, it uses their weakness. It exploits everybody's weakness to make you buy stuff, buy stuff that isn't going to deliver anything worth of any value to you. This is the fundamental evil of our society. The fundamental evil of the whole neoliberal value system that puts competition and struggle and greed and makes that the highest values of humanity. It's insane. And you can see the effect that it has on their kids. Right? Teenagers are trying to find a functioning sense of identity that's going to work and give them a successful life. It's going to allow them to make a living, to contribute, to be part of a community, to have a family. All of the stuff that matters to human beings need a functioning sense of self in order for that to happen. And we have exactly the opposite going on. And that's why you see it's horrific. It is horrific. And there's nothing virtuous about it. There's nothing redeemable about it. You have to see it for what it is, and then say yes to it. Okay, this is what it is, for whatever reason. And so everything is being reduced to the lowest common denominator, which is just sex, the basic drive, right? So it's reduced. It's not even love, right? Not even romance. It's just reduced to the most to the law. I mean, the porn industry is enormous. It's just reduced to there's nothing there anymore. There's nothing human there. It's not even animal. Animals have more class. So we can be to see things as they are, to see what's actually happening, is to perceive an underlying value system, a system of thinking and perceiving. This is why we can't just find the bad guys and wipe them out, right? Because it isn't a guy. It's not a somebody with power. It is a state of mind that has universally infected humanity. This is the devil consciousness, right? This is the satanic, this is the true meaning of that. It's just the darkness of the ego, the sense of self, which has lost all reference points, right? And so it's just making stuff up. And of course, the model it'll make up of, it will be completely about what serves me. Oh, my drinking problem again. Yep. So seeing it as such, right, and recognizing that politically, economically, you and I have no power. I have no platform to influence any of that. So what do I do instead? I love. I live and exude the true value system to the degree that I understand it. Love is exactly the opposite of greed. Love would never even think to exploit, would never even think to take advantage. It would do everything it could to educate, to nurture, to grow, to nourish, to reveal. So that's what I do. That's why I do this. That's what you do. That's what we all can do, and discover that there is, because that is truth, right? And not a made up reference point of the mind. Okay? It is inviolate, and it can't lose because it cannot be destroyed. Truth can't be destroyed. A lie can. A belief can. A point of view can. Right? They shift all the time. And of course, they are shifting all the time. But truth can't. And since the truth is love, they're one and the same. truth, love is the essential oneness. It is the great unifier. Well, you you are actually standing on the only power there really is. All the other power is nothing compared to it. So thank you, Suzanne. I really do hope that helps. Sue, hi GP, and you beautiful beings out there. Thank you, G, for your time and energy and profoundness. Oh, very welcome, Sue. Melissa, hello, Melissa. Robbie, what's your opinion on solving traumas, fears through exposure therapy? Is it a good idea to jump into what scares us, or maybe change the view we have on it, or a combination of the two? Thank you. Exposure therapy has proven to be a complete failure, right? It does nothing. I went through a period of time, back before I had learned about this and other forms of energy healing and the like. And I went through some of the ab reactions, these extreme trauma processes, which I found to be as traumatic as the actual trauma itself in the first place. And other than the fact that I was so physically exhausted by it, that there was a sense of catharsis, there was no real effect. It wore off almost immediately. It is insane to think, okay, you're going to get over your fear. I'm just going to shove your face into it and just terrify the snot out of you. It's an absurd idea, even if you look at it. It doesn't make any logical sense. What causes a trauma? The trauma is being in a position of being in grave danger and not being able to do anything, powerless to do anything about it. That's what a trauma is. You are in danger. Well, what do you think the cure for a trauma would have to be then? Safety, aka love. In the presence of love, the trauma does not need to exist anymore. It only had to exist because it could not deal with the reality in which it was in mortal danger. And it just concluded, in order to, by suppressing and all of the conditioning, all the things that happened that allowed you to survive the trauma, when you couldn't run away and you couldn't fight, all that energy is still there. And that energy causes the nervous system to create an assumption about the nature of the reality. And that assumption is that danger is always there. And thus, I always need to be in this position. And that's why the traumas perpetuate. They take all sorts of different forms. They influence our behavior. The whole mechanism needs to see for itself that danger isn't there. If the danger isn't there and it is given safety instead, it will immediately begin to adapt to it, because that's what it does. Just as it adapted to the environment of danger, it will readapt itself to the environment of safety. And exposure therapy does nothing but recreate the very fear that put it into that position in the first place. So no, it doesn't work. That's why I use inner reconciliation. That's why I use meditation. That's why I use EFT. I have all sorts of methods now that very gently bring that out without re-traumatizing. And in fact, sometimes you don't even have to know what happened, know anything about it. It just discharges by itself, because it created itself by itself as a response to the danger. You didn't consciously do it. The whole nervous system did it. All you have to do is consciously create this new place of safety, and it'll do the rest. You really don't have to. You don't have to go through it. And please do not. It simply doesn't work. Thanks, Robbie. Peter, hello from Italy. Thanks for another wonderful satsang. The important pointers that you share. Yeah, you're so welcome, Peter. Thank you. There's Mark in Naples, where the snow never flies. Yes. Andy, hate arises in consciousness just as love does, no? everything is unfolding as it should. We have no free will. So is anything actually wrong? And can we actually affect anything? Ultimately, the answer is no, but I don't just kind of throw that out there. When people say, oh, yep, there's no free will, there's nothing you do, just accept it as it is. When that's taken in by the mind, it's just completely debilitating. It robs you of all your power. It is not as simple as that. Hate arises in consciousness is true, but love does not arise in consciousness. Love is consciousness. If a pure energy gets, pure water, take pure water. If you put it into a beautiful crystal goblet, right, just, a wedge with just this most beautiful thing, it takes the shape of that. If you put it in an old shoe, it takes the shape of the old shoe. It's both the pure water. Love is the nature of water. But love, the dynamic aspect of consciousness, would be what we would call love in action, right? When love is constricted, it cannot come out in its natural shape. It comes out in its negation. It comes out exactly the opposite. The infinite abundance shows up as lack and a feeling of limitation. Infinite love shows up as hate, indifference, pushing things away, aversion, or attachment, strong attachment. This is all what arises. What is arising is always love. That is always the essence of it. But what shape it takes, what form, what expression it takes, it's completely dependent upon the environment in which it arises, which is why I spend all my time showing people how to create the inner environment of love, and that allows your true nature to be able to appear as it actually is in its native form. And then the manifestation is more and more and more like the original, rather than a distortion of it. This is a hard thing for most people to grasp. But it is the environment that shapes the energy. The energy is pure, and it can become anything. What it becomes is completely dependent upon the environment in which it emerges. This is why I say, you do not need to concern yourself with the actual events that took place in the past, your traumas, any of that. All you have to do is create an inner space of safety. That's all you have to do. It's the environment, because it was the environment in the past that created traumas. If you create an environment of safety, the traumas will dissolve, because they're not needed anymore. They're still there because, as far as the nervous system is concerned, they need to be there. The moment they don't need to be there anymore, poof, they can be dropped. So it's just kind of one of those non-dual spiritual platitudes. Oh, there's anything wrong. That's actually true. Now, you need to take that into your heart and see why that is true, right? And really come to that place of surrender, as Joseph Campbell did, as Atmananda did before him. And just and say yes to it. Kind of own your own divine ignorance and say yes to it. But keeping your heart open, because saying yes to it doesn't mean you don't actually affect anything. It means you're actively in the game. But it is a game, right? Like any other game, right? And the outcome doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter who wins and who loses. It's a game. This isn't to diminish it. It's to say that play the game, protest, argue, right? But don't be attached to it, and keep yourself centered in love and freedom. That will point the way, and you'll find that is the true will. Love is the true will. It is not the free will, not the ego can just make up whatever it damn well pleases. You cannot contradict your own nature. There's no free will to be something other than what you are. God can't even do that. But you can imagine yourself being something other than you are and have the experience. And that is the game. Thanks, Andy. Hello, Patricia. So good to see you. Facebook user, the whole thing is a lie. Interesting. Ponder that, Facebook user. I am the truth. Love that. Love this time with you. You're very welcome. Love this time with you. Faith. How to embrace the idea of being God without pride or feeling guilt. Are you aware of the pride and the guilt? Great. So just be aware that it doesn't change the fact that you are the divine being. You are being itself. You are Satchidananda. And then notice that the ego wants to take pride in it. It wants to turn that into a personal possession. It's not a personal possession. Any more than growing your hair is, I can take pride in it. Look how well I grew hair, right? I didn't grow it. It's just growing. Oh, I did such a great job digesting dinner last night. I'm so cool. It's just happening, right? This is simply, the truth is not something you can take pride in or feel guilty about. It just is. This is the great liberation. This is grace. It just is. How to grasp that we are projecting without wanting to control. Well, how to accept that we are observing life and we are the source. Love you. Love you too, Faith. How to grasp you're projecting without wanting to control. Well, the desire to control is also a projection, right? If you are the truth, if you are the ultimate, what's there to control? The desire to control is the mind projecting that there's something out there to control, something other than myself. That's the cause of the whole problem in the first place. There's nothing to control. There's only a corrective, correcting the mind, in that the mind is forever trying to assert that there is something out there. And the essential insight that there isn't simply acts as a corrective agent. Right? Say, oh, that thought's not true. Simply not true. How do you know it's not true? Because you're the truth. You see it. And in the seeing, it loses its power. Yeah, it may appear many, many times. Yeah, but what about this? What about that? And you can see that it's always exactly the same premise. It may take a million different shapes, point at a million different things, but the premise is the same. I am the body, and the world is separate from me. That's the premise. And it will just keep trying to state that over and over and over again. And the whole point of non-dual inquiry is to see that it is not true. Right? You've already accepted it, Faith. You say, how do we accept it? You already have. You wouldn't be here listening to me if you hadn't. What you're struggling with, as what everybody is struggling with, the mind is the ornery, contentious, belligerent mind refuses to accept it. The problem is you're listening to your mind. You're saying, well, I wish the mind would stop doing this. How can it, it just wants to control. How do I accept this? You're accepting the mind as if it was some kind of an authority. It's just a bunch of thoughts, nothing more. So you just say, oh, that's not true. Right? And the mind, yes, it is. And you can feel it. You'll feel it in your body. You'll feel it. It'll tense up because it's a position that has been taken upon which an entire identity has been built. And so you're shaking the entire structure of the human personality. Right? It's a bold and courageous thing to do. It's not easy. But it's the most important and significant thing you can possibly do. Stop giving your mind credit. Stop being intimidated by it. It isn't telling you the truth. That's how you That's how you come to accept it. You've already accepted it. Now you have to, with strength, assert that by denying everything that the mind has to say. You're bringing the mind into conformity with the truth. And believe me, it will. Because it isn't anything. It doesn't have any power of its own. It doesn't have any authority. You are projecting on it. You say it has authority by saying, how do we accept this? You're saying, how do I do this? Right? You have given authority to your doubts. You did it, right? You said, how do I do this? how to grasp projecting without wanting to control, right? That thought, the control, how do I get rid of the control, right? You've given that thought all the power that it has. You've given it control. Can you see that? It's so subtle, but it's so, well, it's obvious when it's obvious, right? You're empowering it. You're saying there's this entity there that keeps resisting me, that denying it. Right? There's no entity there. There's nobody there. It's like, Siri on your phone, right? There's nobody there. You can say all sorts of nasty things to Siri. Nobody's feelings are hurt because there's nobody there. There is no conscious entity. The mind does not exist as an entity. It is only a concept. Take your authority. Right? Thank you, Faith. I love you too. Harry, hello. I just ate some edibles and I'm scared as fuck because I don't know what will happen. Well, you're going to have an experience. So you have a choice. You can either just experience it as it is and even enjoy it, or you can listen to the mind saying, what's going to happen, right? Well, you don't know what's going to happen, and the mind will project all sorts of things on it. Just stay here. Stay as the observer of it, right? And just be present with it. And just watch what happens, right? Yes, the mind will be doing stuff, right? That's the nature of it. That's the nature of cannabis. Turn it into a ritual, right? As long as you're doing it, turn it into a ceremony. Make it sacred, right? Light a candle, sit with it, be present to it. But the whole mission is be present, right? And whatever comes up, watch it. Just watch. That's all. Just watch. And you'll begin to see how the mind gets pulled into this story, pulled into these ideas of fear, or sometimes even grandiosity. You'll just watch how it works. And if you begin to see how the mind works, how it always is reacting, commenting, setting up relationships with everything, you will become powerful. You'll see how it all actually works. And then you'll be free of it. I won't need to eat any more edibles. World is a media hypnosis now. Wow, so much true knowledge. Thanks. You're very welcome. Media, yes. But the true hypnosis is not in the media. The true hypnosis is driving it. And we're all under that spell. Wake up. Annette, hello. How can we take care of our inner child? And how can we find out what it needs? Listen to it. People ask that question as if the mind is going to figure out how to deal with the child. Why don't you ask the child? I've had a lot of private sessions with people who have had extremely horrific events happen to them as children. I mean, stuff that would curl your hair. And I don't always do the inner child work kind of thing. It's one of the tools in the toolbox that I pull out. because again, it's all about creating the environment first. And but I have several times, and just the well, I don't want to go into exactly how I did it because it's different for everybody, and I don't want it to be picked up as, oh, here's a process I do. It depends on what's happening in the moment. But start with the feeling. If there's a feeling of being vulnerable, of being afraid, that is the inner child, right? That is that part of us that is afraid, that was afraid, that wasn't safe, that didn't feel safe, right? So it's a feeling, right? It's not an entity in there. It is a feeling that has been, you've been distanced from. It's become disowned in some way. Start simply with the feeling of whatever happens to be presenting itself in that moment. And then you just be with it. Let yourself feel with it. You can tap on it. You don't even need to know what to say. Just tap the body a bit, which simply communicates safety to the nervous system through touch. And just being present with a distressing feeling and shifting the environment in which the feeling is appearing through tapping, which creates a sense of safety, is enough to trigger an adaptation in the nervous system, which will then begin to sense the safety and want to move towards it. Right? Then in some instances, that's enough. In other instances, I may have them picture that little child, right? Or an actual event from the past may come to mind. In the case of recently, that's exactly what happened. And so we just went there together to this place where the event took place and began to redefine it, create that space there, take them out of the danger. Now, you have to recognize that this is happening through kind of a creative imagery, but what's really happening underneath is that the energy is begin to solidify into a place of safety, and therefore is allowing itself to drop the story, the trauma, all of the energy around self-protection, because it is sensing now that the environment has changed. And you can literally change the past doing that. And so then you just ask it, what do you need? What do you want? Right? And it'll tell you, I want to get out of here. Okay, where would you like to go? I want to go to the beach. All right. So the magic of visualization, we're at the beach. Now what? And little by little, you see it start to play, the happiness. And then, and in that moment, what's happening is that that energy, right, is beginning to integrate into you. Remember that the inner child is not an entity. It is simply an energetic pattern that got stuck in a particular place in time. So that's the approach I take towards it. It is not analytical. It's not the head. Oh, I'm going to go and find out what my inner child means. That's the mind making stuff up as if it knew, right? You know, if you want to find out the truth about something, you ask the something, right? Not tell the something what the truth is, right? If you want to know what's happening inside of you, you ask inside of you. You want to know where a feeling came from? You ask the feeling. It knows, you don't. And you can think about it all day and study all sorts of things and still not know where it came from. But to just ask it, there it is, right? If you have created an environment of safety, you can ask these questions and you will get answers. And you will find very quickly healing taking place. Thank you, Annette. I really hope that helps. Jay, would you say Gandhi recognized the truth of himself? Because certain things I read about him make me wonder. There are others. It was not complete. No, he himself said that it was not complete. Right. And he had this sense of his personal mission as a person, but he continued his sadhana. I do believe he met. Was it Atmananda? No, I think it was Ramana. He met with Ramana. And so no, he admitted that he hadn't, and he was still had some of the old habits, some of the old, kind of Hindu disciplines of celibacy, giving up sex, and things like that. So he was still he had not yet reached the whole place, but he had certainly awoken in his heart to love and to courage. Yeah, it's not a dismissal of that. He did not have the full realization as of yet. So, and that's by his own admission. Yeah. Let's see. Steph says, "You're welcome to Jay. Hello, Kimberly. So good to see you." Robbie, in my small knowledge in the field, you are the first person I heard saying exposure therapy doesn't work and explain logically why so. Alternatively, I'm happy I discovered IREFT from you, inner reconciliation energy techniques. Yes. Well, obviously, if you're a proponent of exposure therapy, you're going to say, "Oh yeah, it works." Right? When you're a hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. And I suppose there are circumstances under which it may improve things, right? But it doesn't take a rocket science to say that love heals more than fear, and just making one face their fears when there isn't enough of a development of character to be able to process that fear any differently than you did the first time, doesn't make any sense whatsoever, does it? I mean, logically, it makes no sense. It doesn't have to be logical, of course. These things oftentimes are ideological. So anyway, let's see. 1:11. It's 1:11. Well, it's not 1:11, but 1 hour and 11 minutes. And I happen to look at the clock. What does that mean? Nothing. Let's see. So yes, alternatively, I'm happy I discovered IRET, right? The inner reconciliation energy techniques. Yes, because it does work. It creates the inner environment of safety. I'm the gospel. I preach the gospel of love. God is love, period. And the atmosphere of love, an inner atmosphere of love. What does the nervous system need to defend itself against? Is there anything in love that you need to defend yourself against? True love, completely open-hearted accepting love, right? Unconditional love. Right? What defense is needed? What trauma could possibly be created? This to me is like so self-evident that I cannot believe that I'm the only one that got it. I'm not. It's showing up all the time, actually. And obviously I'm not. There were people before me who got it and like, but what else could it possibly be? If I create an inner environment of love, I make it safe to be myself. When it's safe to be myself, what happens? I come out. I become free. I begin to express myself. And so I just looked for various kinds of techniques and processes that help one create the inner environment of safety. And that's what inner reconciliation is. Notice it's not inner fixing, it's not inner engineering, it's not, it's not making something, it's not imposing something, it's reconciling with what is. It's a reconciliation between opposites. And reconciliation means those bringing into harmony that which was opposed. And you find that it was you who was opposed to your inner world. It was you that was empowering the mind. It was you the whole time. Who's the cause of all this? You look in the mirror. Oh my God, it's me. It is me. It is all myself. Everything is myself, for it is all poured forth from me. That's from the Upanishads. The entire universe is God's self-concept. God imagining herself, picturing herself. That image is the universe. And it is not something that was created in a moment in time. It is existing now. It is being spontaneously generated in this moment. So when I talk about this, the matrix or the dream, the guy in the dream doesn't wake up. Right? We think, oh, I'm dreaming, as if it was a personal dream. It's not. You are the dream. You are waking up to who you really are, the ultimate dreamer, Shiva. You are Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. You are Vishnu asleep on the infinite ocean of being, dreaming a universe filled with dreamers. Who are you really? You're not a person that's having a dream. The person is the dream. You are Shiva. You are Brahma. You are the non-dual God. Now, we cannot conceive that in the way that the West sees God, which is personal creator and creation, separate things. That's a manifestation of the original trauma, the original crisis, the original sense of separation. I am the body, there's the world, and then there's the God of that world. None of that exists. The truth is you. You are the non-dual truth. And that non-dual truth is what is called Brahma, which is the creator of the universe. It is also Shiva, the destroyer of the universe. Just as the scenes in a movie, one frame appears on the screen and then is gone, one right after another. Constantly the story being substantiated, the story being projected, the story being it is the screen of being. It is Shiva's screen of being, also known as Shakti. The dreamer doesn't wake up. You wake up from the dream. And who are you? You are Shiva. You are the Shiva being. You are the divine being. You are God. You are Brahman. You are Buddha. That's who's asleep. I don't know how I got off on that from tapping, but there we are. Andy B. Thanks, GP. It's a brilliant game. Kimberly, I've been missing your teaching, and here you are, big, heavy smiles. Good. Good. Such beautiful landscape behind you. It is. And this is my last day here. I'm moving out tomorrow. And before heading off to, well, first a week, I'll be spending a week with my son and my granddaughter. And then I will be spending another week with my other son and my inherited grandson. Well, actually, granddaughters. Now I have two. The one's still very much a newborn, so we just kind of hung out and looked at each other for a bit. Where's the other? We have a whole thing going on, and then I'm off to Germany, and from there, who knows? So I'll gather everything in Germany and take it all with me. So this is my last Satsang from here, this last with this scene. Who knows where the next one is going to be coming from? There'll be one coming from another one here in Seattle, then there'll be one down in Phoenix, and then who knows? Germany, of course, but where in Germany, I don't know yet. So, yes, it is a beautiful landscape. It's been nice. It's been really nice living here. But it's time. Robert Hill. Hi, Mr. G. Sorry for asking this. Are they trying to kill us with the vaccine? Something is not right. I don't know. I don't see a lot of evidence for it. Yes, there's conflicting stories. Nobody has come up with anything definitive, right? Yes, here it is. This is the ingredient, and they're trying to kill us with it. Also, never really came up with who they are that's trying to do this. Okay? Is something not right? Sure, there's something not right. But to jump to the conclusion they're trying to kill us, that's big. And of course, if you really take that in and believe that, you're going to start interpreting events from that point of view, and you will be blind now to seeing things as they actually are. Right? Nobody's trying to kill anybody, as far as I can tell. You're looking at a state of mind, and the state of mind is greed, right? It is the ego on steroids. It wants control. It wants to, right? I caution anybody from taking such an extreme position. Right? Whether it be they're trying to kill us or they're totally benevolent and this is the most wonderful thing. Obviously, the truth of the circumstances lies somewhere in between. But the truth I talk about has nothing to do with any of that. And this is really, really important to understand. Because the moment you take a position, you create the conflict. And you empower it. Right? We want to become free of conflict, not enhance it. Right? Is there an indifference towards human life? Yes. Greed has no interest in human life. Right? I recently read this fellow talking about he'd had the experience of being, public universities and that sort of thing, and the recruiters would come, to try to get people into the military and the like. And then he had an opportunity later to attend some of the private schools, and he found that they didn't do that there. And he concluded something very insightful, that the people who start the wars are not the ones who fight them. Okay? And so when we look at things like the vaccine, it's like, well, what about the mass surveillance? What about the economic inequality? What about the threat to all life on the planet? Right? When I look at something like the vaccine and the amount of controversy around it, if I was somebody who wanted to keep attention off of the real problems, this is where I would make a controversy. I would invent somebody like Q, right? Right, dripping out these little bits of information as if they were true. I would do that. I mean, it would be a brilliant way to hide what's really going on, which is being robbed blind. Right? It's all over the place, but we focus on these small things, right? What if the whole focus is itself being manipulated? Look deeply into these things. Don't grab on to these things because there's a lot of emotion in it right now, and there's memes all over the place. Don't trust any of it. Right? It's all being manipulated, and if it isn't being directly manipulated, it's somebody who's got their particular point of view that they're now convinced is right, and they're trying to assert it everywhere. We have to be wiser than serpents and harmless as doves. Right. So I will say that. Jay says, you're physically far away now, but it seems you're going to be further away. Well, the background will be different, but I'll be sitting here just like I am right now. The beauty of the internet, the wonder of this world that we live in. Beautiful, beautiful. Bo, hi G, makes so much sense to acknowledge that the person is a dream. Great explanation. Thank you. You're very welcome, Bo. Very welcome. Yes. The person is a dream. Everything you know about yourself is in the mind. Okay. Do you want to know yourself? Put all of the mind aside and simply be with with the sense of being. That's always here. That's not a dream. Okay? You're not making that up. It's not a concept, right? We can use words like concepts to point to sense of self and all of that sort of stuff. But look at the actual presence. You do exist. This is not a concept. This is not mind. You don't need mind to acknowledge it. You don't need anything to accept the recognition of it. But it is so simple. It is so direct. It is so empty of all of everything that the mind completely disregards it. Oh, that's not it. That's no big deal. No, it is the only deal. The sense of your own being. You didn't create it. You didn't invent it. Nobody told you, oh, look, you are. You just know. Matter of fact, you and the knowing of it are actually one. You couldn't know it unless you were it, unless it was in fact being itself. So take this in. Become completely entranced at the mystery and wonder of it. Wait a minute, this isn't a concept. I can see everything else as a concept. It's an idea, it's an explanation, it's a reduction, it's a comparison, it's an association. This is not. This is real. I am real. I am reality. This is reality. I am. That's all you have to ponder, and the universe will open up to you. Welcome to Come to Sweden. Thank you, Barbara. I hope to. I have several people up there. I hope to get up to. I want to go all over the place, actually. And of course, I have to leave Europe every 90 days until I find some place I'm actually going to settle. I think Germany's probably not going to be it. It's too restrictive getting residency, whereas places like Spain and Portugal right now are very open to giving residency, so that I wouldn't have to be coming and going every 90 days, which I will have to for a while. Let's see, Roberto, thanks a lot, G. Thanks a lot. You're very welcome. Bo, on another note, all the best in your journey in Europe. Thank you, Bo. Robert, G, if you decide to come to Croatia, it's close to Germany, let me know. We'll make your stay easier. Thank you. Actually, Croatia is on the list, and Montenegro, especially because you guys are not yet in the European Union. So if I have to leave, it's a place I can go, get my passport stamped so I can go back. I know both Croatia and Serbia have applied for EU membership, but have not been accepted yet. So I can go to England too, because they're no longer in it. So that qualifies. So at any rate, so thank you for the invitation. Thanks all of you to the invitation. I just want to wander around Europe during satsang, doing satsangs. Johanna, hi G. Do you have any specific suggestions for giving up problems? Yes. You want to get rid of all problems? You want to eliminate all problems? Problem is a concept. It's an interpretation of the mind. There are no such things as problems. They do not exist as an actual fact. There's only life. But when we disagree with the way life is, when we think it should be something other than it is, it now becomes a problem. Now notice, life hasn't changed. Reality hasn't changed. The flow hasn't changed. None of that has changed. I have simply now defined it and said, it's a problem, and I've created in myself a resistance to it, and now I suffer. I don't suffer because of reality. I suffer because I have created a concept of reality, a disagreement with reality, a resistance to reality. And now I have created a problem. No problem really exists. It is a mental concept, a mental construction projected on the natural flow of life. This will eliminate all problems because there aren't any. There is no such thing as a problem, not objectively, not in reality. But your mind creates one. It creates a problem where there isn't one. Now, how do you first off see that every time you say it's a problem, you are taking a position. Now look at the position you're taking. This shouldn't be happening. It is happening, though. Right? Instead of this shouldn't be happening, it should be different. Just say, this is happening. There's also a feeling of wanting it to be different, but it isn't. Look, I'm just look at what is actually here, right? Right? And yeah, the preferences will be there. I wish this way, instead of that. But just notice that too is just kind of a phenomenon of life, and that's not a problem, right? But when I attach to it, it should be this way. Where's the actual problem? Right? Is life saying I shouldn't be this way? Or is life just being life? It's all about a shift in our perception, because that's where all the suffering is. There is no suffering in life. The trees are not suffering. It is only when we create an environment, both inner and then reflected outwardly, that is contrary to our own nature, that is in at war with our own nature. And we feel that as suffering. We feel that as a sense of not enoughness. We feel that as pain. But it's completely made up. And you'll also notice that the nature of mind, the way mind has been trained, the nature of the way we conceptualize is to solve problems. We love to solve problems. Oh, I fixed it. Yeah, it was a problem. Now I solved it. Right? We create the problem, and then we pat ourselves on the back if we solve the problem. Right? And there is very much an attachment to the identification of being the problem solver, the caretaker, the one who finds the way, the self-made man or woman. There's a great deal of attachment to that, which means if I'm really attached to that identity, I want problems. If there isn't a problem, I make one, consciously or unconsciously. If I'm a cleaner, I have to make things dirty so I can clean it. Otherwise, what am I going to do? You can see how we get tied to this idea. What if there were no problems? What would you do? Nothing to fix. Everything was just fine the way it is. No more self-help needed. Didn't need to read any more books. What would you do with all the time? Money. Nothing left to be fixed because there was nothing broken in the first place. That's how you put an end to problems. You see them for what they really are. David and Elaine, love and positive thoughts for your move to Europe. We hope the transition goes happily and smoothly. I do too. Thank you, guys. Hey, GP and everybody. There's Hendrik, Robert Hill. Oh, Croatia is in the EU. Oh, okay. But Serbia and Montenegro are not. Yeah. You need to see these countries. You're in for treats. I do. I do need to see. I do need to see it. Ava G, have a smooth journey. Thank you, Melissa. So, no preference is acceptance of all. This is important and it's very subtle because preference are a natural phenomenon. Of course, I prefer, this color shirt to some other color shirt. I prefer, water to vodka. I prefer my mate to, something else. Right? You can't help that. It's just part of human nature, part of the individual being. It's part of just being human, right? But when we're so identified with those preferences that we say the world should be like that, right? It shouldn't be contrary to that. Now you've created a problem. Now you're no longer an accept. Yes, I accept the fact that there are preferences. I also accept the fact that I may never ever get those preferences, right? Which is also a fact, right? So I'm just now accepting life as it is. I'm accepting life on its own terms, not on mine. I'm not trying to force it to be what I want. That's what greed is. That's what the world is doing, is trying to force the world into being what it wants. This infinite resource that'll never run out. We can just completely exhaust it and just throw stuff wherever we want and never have any consequences. It's just the delusion. It's the great delusion. We can't force this. We need to conform ourselves to the nature of existence. This is wisdom, right? And yes, there'll be preferences, but if my preferences are not hard, then I get it. Okay. Wow, great. What a wonderful experience. And I don't get it. What's the difference? The baseline of contentment and peace remains, and that's Ananda. The basic feeling of the benevolence of life remains. And I'm engaged with life. My preferences have me engaged with life. I want to hang out this kind of place. I want to eat this kind of food. Right? All of that kind of stuff is my engagement with life, knowing full well that it's transient and temporary. And tomorrow I could have a different set of preferences. I'm not going to have the same ones 10 years from now that I did 10 years ago. I'm simply not. Right? There's nothing stable there. There's nothing absolute. Oh, okay. So I just accept that too. Now I'm accepting things as they are. And that's where the end of suffering comes. And that is love. The name for that is love. The acceptance of things just as they are without fighting them. That is love. Ava, yes, I'm not a person having a dream. A person and its world is a dream. I am that which dreams a person and its world. Thank you for that profound statement today. You're welcome, Ava. Yes. We see awakening as if it's some personal thing that's going to happen, right? But the person is the dream. Believing yourself, that person can't wake up, right? Bugs Bunny can't have an awakening because there's nobody there. Siri can say, I've seen the truth. I've seen God. I'm awake. Siri can say that, right? But there's nobody there. We all awaken from Siri. And seeing the job she does in autocorrect, we need to awaken from Siri. Jay, in Hinduism, sannyasis wander from place to place, not staying for more than a certain amount of time. And I'm assuming it was to spread the message, maybe not to grow an attachment also. Enjoy your adventure, G. We'll get a chance to experience the world through you. Yes. And I get to experience your little boy through you. It's a wonderful exchange. Yes, the sannyasins, well, it depends on the particular sect that they happen to belong to, but it's this idea that somehow, if I physically renounce the world, I'm going to attain enlightenment. That this is how renunciation should take place. But the true masters like Ramana or like Shankara, like Buddha, came along and said, no, it's not external. Renunciation is renunciation of the mind, because the world only exists in the mind. So just denying my body, not wearing clothes, wandering from place to place, not having any relationships, isn't going to change a thing for somebody. If inside that proclivity towards attachment is still there, just making adjustments to the circumstances isn't going to cut it. It's not going to have the effect. This is what the Buddha saw so clearly, because he did that, right? He lived that completely ascetic life and determined that it was not the way. And my God, I wish I had known the story about the Buddha long before, because I put myself through the same kind of rigors, the same kind of self-denials, right? Accepting circumstances in the life as, oh, this is my sadhana, I'll go without everything. And, even though it was a horrific, it was just self-torment for absolutely no reason whatsoever. It did not bring me any closer, other than just the discipline and the desire for truth above all else. So that's the sannyasin. You don't need to go to the mountain to renounce the world, because the world exists in your mind. You need to denounce the mind. Right? That is the world, and that's the true renunciation. The true fasting is just refusing to accept the evidence in front of the senses. It has nothing to do with food. Ancha, dear G, I also wish you a nice travel. You're really coming to Germany? Seems like Europe needs your wisdom. I am coming to Germany. Yes, that's my destination, around Frankfurt. Not exactly sure where yet. My local agent is is diligently seeking things out for us. So we'll find it. Anyway, no more questions. Only an hour and 42 minutes today, so no more questions. I will bring today to a close. I don't mind stopping a little earlier, because I have to finish packing. Somebody's coming in about an hour to take the couch that I sold. The couch I'm sitting on right now is off it goes. A few more things to sell and give away. So this will be the last you see of this couch as well, as the background. So thank you all. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you all for being you. Thank you for your willingness to hear this message. Not everyone does, and just heed it, chew it, and swallow it. Right? The world is the mind. It does not exist separate from the mind. Right? You need not conquer all of this out here. You only have to conquer this. You only have to see that your beliefs, your concepts, your assumptions about the world create the world. When you do, you are free of the world. You are free of the delusion. And now you can walk in the world. You can play in the world. You can be fully present in the world. You can show your love for the world. Thank you all. Love you, love you, love you. Namaste.